Hey little people, welcome back to another episode of Math with Morris. I'm your host, Miss Morris. Now let's do some math. Today we're going to be talking about multiplying decimals. So come on, follow me. Let's take a little look over here, shall we? All right, we are going to start off with just working with our numbers. Make sure we've got our strategy down before we move into our word problem. So today's lesson is just a day to get our strategy down with our numbers, so procedurally, if you will. So let's start off with a multiplication question that asks us, we will do 16 thousandths. So remember our place value. We've got our ones right before the decimal. Our tenths come right after the decimal. Our hundredths place right next to our tenths, and then our thousandths place. So our ones, these are called tenths. Notice how they have a TH at the end. Hundredths and thousandths. You guys learned about this place value in the 4th grade. So let's say that we have, this is pronounced 16 thousandths, and we are trying to multiply that 16 thousandths by the whole number 3. What is the answer that you get when you multiply called? Do you remember? If you said product, you're correct. So we're trying to find the product of 16 thousandths and 3. So we are going to use our standard algorithm for multiplication. And standard algorithm, you might be thinking, well, what is that? Some of you know what it is. All that means is that's our mathematical way of saying that we're going to stack them on top of each other and follow our steps in order. It's just standard, if you will. So I'm going to take my 16 thousandths and multiply that by my whole number 3. So when we multiply, we're starting off with this bottom right corner, and we're multiplying this number by each place on the number up top of it. So 3 times 6 gives me 18. I record my 8, regroup my 10. 3 times 1 equals 3, and then I need to include my whole that is regrouped. So 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 equals 4. 3 times 0 is 0. You can write it, you cannot write it. Either way, it doesn't matter. And 3 times 0 is 0. So now when I get to this point, this is in normal multiplication without a decimal, where we would say, we're finished, we found our answer, we're good to go. But with our decimals, we need to count our places behind the decimal. So we have 1, 2, 3 places that are behind the decimal, and there's no decimal in our bottom. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Normally our decimal would be right there, and our answer would be 48. But I need to move my decimal 3 places. So 1, 2, 3. So now my product do you recall how we would pronounce that with our place value? Our product would be 48 thousandths. 48 thousandths would be our product. All right, Miss Morris, that's pretty easy. We're ready to take it up another level. All right. Let's try another one. Let's say that this time we've got the number, we'll work with a bigger number, 5.1024. And we are going to be multiplying by 12. Do you remember what the strategy is called that we are going to be using to multiply? Standard algorithm. So we are going to multiply these two numbers to find the product, the answer we get when we multiply, of these two numbers using our standard algorithm. So I'm going to rewrite. And let's get started. All right. You know what I just thought of? That song, "This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Oh, yeah." You know, I had to put a little Miss Morris touch on that. All right, so we're going to start in our ones place here. I see I have 2 times 4, which gives me 8. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 0. 2 times 1. 2 times 5. All right, now this is where we're taking it up a little level, so watch out. Now that we're moving into we're finished with our ones place. That's what all of this is right here. That's our ones place. And now that we are looking in our tens place at that 1 right there, let's say we've got this 1 right here. Some of you guys mentioned this. We need to have a placeholder for our place value. So since these were all of our ones, now we're moving into the tens. So in your textbook, they don't even put anything here. If you want to put a 0 or an egg, as somebody called it earlier, you can put that there. Or if you want to just leave it blank and start in this tens space, you can do that, up to you. I personally like to have a placeholder. So I put my 0, I'm not adding a 0, you're not adding anything. I just place my 0 there, there's an imaginary 0 there, so that's gonna help me keep my thinking straight. So I have I have 1, I'm in the tens place, I have 1 times 4, which gives me 4, 1 times 2, 1 times 0, 1 times 1, and 1 times 5. So at this point, I'm finished with my ones place. I'm finished with my tens place. What am I going to do next? Do you remember? Right, I'm going to add. I'm going to find the sum of these two numbers. So let's do it. 8 plus 0, 4 plus 4, 0 plus 2, 2 plus 0, 0 plus 1, 5 plus 1. Oh, that's it. I'm finished. Oh, no. No, I am not finished. What did I forget? Right, so I need to put my decimal. I can't just walk off and leave it like that. My answer is not 612,288. No, Miss Morris, come on. This is an amateur hour. Come on now, we're working with decimals. So we're gonna count up our places behind the decimal, and we are going to adjust our product accordingly. So count with me. I've got 1. I said count with me. I can't hear you. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 4 places that I need to move my decimal. So the decimal always starts off on the end here, and you're going to move 1, 2, 3, and a 4. So we are plotting that decimal right there. And now my answer is, or my product, my solution, my product is 61.2288. That is accurate. We're gonna do one more problem before we wrap up this lesson. So we've done some multiplying decimals by a single digit number. We've done multiplying decimals by a multi-digit number or 2-digit number. Now let's multiply a decimal by a decimal because, why not? All right, so let's say we want to multiply. We'll do 4.25 or 4 and 25 hundredths times, I'll do 1.75. So these are written horizontally, right? And we're going to use our strategy, which is standard algorithm. So we are going to use our standard algorithm strategy to stack these two decimals on top of each other and multiply to find the product. So I'm going to record the problem. And let's get to it. Go ahead and try this one out on your own. Let's just see if you can apply your knowledge of decimals and standard algorithm with multiplication to get this. Okay, I hope you wrote your answer down. And if you didn't, don't cheat. Go ahead and try this on your own. You need to see if you can do it. All right, so we're going to go over this together. Hopefully you have your little answer on your paper in front of you. You pause the video and you're good to go. We're going to start off, as always, in the bottom right corner. 5 times 5 is 25. Record my 5, regroup my 20. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. All right, I'm done with my ones. Moving on next to the tens. So remember that when you're moving place values on the bottom, you need to adjust and shift your place value underneath where you're recording your products. So in this instance, I'm working in the tens place, so I can either start over here or I can do a placeholder. I'm a placeholder kind of gal. I'll forget about it if I don't write it, so I like to put my zeros. So 7 times 5 gives me 35. Record your 5, regroup that 30, that 3. 7 times 2 is 14, plus the 3 is 17. Record that 7, regroup that 10. 7 times 4 gives me 28, plus 1 is 29. Finished with my tens, or should I say tenths place, and this is technically my hundreds. I can go on. And now we're getting to our third place, which is actually our ones place, right? It's the third one, which makes me automatically want to say hundreds, but it's not. It's actually the ones place when we look at our place value chart. I can't tell if I made that mistake earlier or not. We're going to multiply, so we're in the third place over, so I need to do my placeholders. I've got 1 times 5, which is 5. 1 times 2, which is 2. 1 times 4, 4. So now I've gone through, I've found all of my partial quotients, and I'm going to find the sum of these partial products, 5 plus 0 plus 0, 20 plus 50 is 70, 100 plus 700 plus 500. Well, I know 5 plus 1 is 6, and 6 plus 6 is 12 plus 1, 13. Regroup. 9 plus 1 gives me 10, 2 plus 2 gives me 4, 10 plus 4 gives me 14. Regroup that 10. 4, 5, 6, 7. Miss Morris, I'm done. That's what you guys love to say to me, but we're not. So now I need to count my places behind the decimal. And we should notice that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and a 4. So our solution, our product is 7.4375. So pay close attention to when I counted my places behind the decimals. I did the top number as we always have as we've been doing in our last couple of problems. However, when you're multiplying a decimal by a decimal, you need to also include that second decimal when you're counting those places as well. Okay, that's it for today.